video is brought to you by Letsynthesize Academy, the #1 place for practice-oriented courses for serious music producers.
Hey, there, Larson here. Welcome to the newest Synthesize Sunday episode. And today I want to show you how you ruin your basses. So you can go from this bass to this bass. So because this little snippet was made by one of my students, I can't share it with you guys. But I shared a few very cool drum loops on my Patreon, of course in Ableton format, so made with one-shots. And right now, let's jump into it. And by the way, if you want to dig deeper into production, click here for Letsynthesize Academy for very cool start to finish masterclasses. Okay, so the first problem that I see here, like in tons of times, is that you guys don't filter your sound and start crushing it like a lot. So what this means, you will create lots of overtones that will turn your sound into a noisy direction that is not really good. And let me show you what this did here. So as you can see, the dude used an automation where he went up to like 5000 Hertz. That would not be a big problem, but look what he did next. So he added an OTT, and then an EQ8 where he chopped off the lows and the highs, and then added saturation and other stuff like delays, reverbs, and then the overdrive and stuff like that. So basically what he did is use lots of high overtones, lots of high frequencies, then he started crunching them a lot and compressing and even adding even more overtones using flanger and stuff. So this is why it resulted this very noisy kind of sound that does not sound really well in the mix. Okay, so how to fix this? First, I need to go back to Serum, and now let's go to my version. This is how it sounds. And as you can see, I use a lot less high overtones, higher frequencies using the low pass filter in the main filter. If I don't do that, it is still not very bad because I changed other things in the post-process. But still, we really need that middle bass energy basically, you know, because we don't want to push the sound into a noisy direction. We want to have very crunchy and very fat sound, and that mid-bass frequency, mid-bass energy is very important for it. If I kill it, it's not that good. I also had to tweak the FM and the synchronization mode a little to match the tone of the original sound. But what most important here is, of course, I use an OTT after that. And then I used the distortion and saturation, in this case, a bit warmer preset. So basically, I had it lighter, higher frequencies that I crunched with the saturator. So with crunching the sound that a little less higher frequencies, I added even more by distorting the full sound. Now the problem is, if you don't have enough low frequency when you distort, your only direction to go to is basically noise. So this is why it is essential to keep the low frequencies and then distort it. Of course, with this you will create lots of overtones, lots of higher overtones, but it is fine. So this is why you need to filter those higher overtones before distortion. This way you will get a very fat sound. So let me show you what I mean. So we have a little less higher overtones here in Serum that I distorted. And then I filtered the low end. So this way we won't collide with the sub. And from this point, basically it is almost the same. Let me show you. The only thing I did here is I replaced the distortion and the EQ, as you can see, and I disabled some of the stuff here, like the final OTT, glue compressor, and the flanger, phaser, and this virtual riot sterilizer. So we don't want to have too much voices in the sound, so we don't want to get very messy kind of result. The other thing that bothers me is the final comp filter. So in the original sound, the final comp filter creates that delay kind of sound that it is fine, I would say. But when your original sound is already very noisy, you add these extra voices using the comp filter, it's I think not the best idea. So this is why I would go back to my version. And I think without the comp filter, it is a lot cleaner. Now, of course, with this, you don't have that very wide sound because the comp filter creates width to your mix or to your sound. But what you can do is pull up the frequency Maybe at around 40 Hz it sounds fine. Instead of 20. So once again, the biggest problem that I see when you guys create or design basses is you don't boost the lower frequencies and then distort, and along with that kill the very highs. Because when you distort, what is distortion basically? With distortion you create lots of overtones. And that is very cool, but don't forget, if you create too much overtones, your sound will go into a noise direction. You don't want to do that. So this is why this would be a very good idea to chop off the higher frequencies, you know, the most sensible for the ear. These frequencies are the most sensible for the ear. So chop off the higher frequencies. Maybe if you want, you can boost the lower frequencies. That will trigger the distortion to create more unique overtones to the sound. And after the distortion, you filter the low end. And with this, you can create a very nice and fat sound. Otherwise, you will get a noisy sound without power, without fatness. And that is obviously not very good for a bass. Okay, so this was it for today. Don't forget to check my Patreon because there are hundreds of stuff there. Very, very cool stuff. And also my academy for very cool start to finish masterclasses. I was Larson. See you guys next time. Peace.